Okay, so I just want to give you guys an update on that eBay all aluminum radiator that I got. She done leaks where the fin meets the side tank. He's a leaker. So that sucks. Let's see if I can braze it. See if we can fix this thing. There you go. Now you can see it much clearer. I got the fans off so that the temperature can rise. You can see where she's bubbling real good now. We're running about 220 degrees. Okay, so let's get this party started. So more than likely I'm gonna have to take the radiator out. I'd love to just be a lazy fart and take out the fan and maybe the airbox and try to fix it from inside the vehicle, but I can already tell it's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have to drain the radiator. Probably gonna pull the lower radiator hose, remove the fans. I have to take off this upper shroud thingy, and then we can remove the radiator. So let's get started. Okay, so after you've thoroughly cursed at every single hose connection to try to get the friggin' thing off, I think we can pull the damn thing. Upper hose, lower hose, both transcooler hoses. Now, since I have a aux transcooler, mine was a little easier to get to because I didn't have to mess with the quick connect settings, but alright, now I guess we lift the radiator out. Okay, so yeah, I forgot how thick this radiator was, since it is a 3-core and it's, again, thick. It's a little hard to see what the heck's going on in there, even with light and so forth. I tried to open up the everything and take a good long look in there and try to see if I saw any holes, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything. I flipped it over both sides, shined the light all over the place. I can't see anything. No holes. So, yeah. If it's one of those center ones, I don't even know if I could get enough heat in there to actually get this hot enough to work. So, the only thing that I can think of is we got to figure out how to block off those two ports and see if maybe we can put some compressed air in, like 16 psi or something, put some leak detection around, and see if we can figure out where the hole's at, because otherwise I have no idea how to even find the hole, let alone try to fix it. You know, I thought this was going to be easy. Okay, so here's our bootleg pressure tester. So we've got two wraps of duct tape on here, on both ends. Got our sensor screwed back in, got our cap tight, and we just have a little 5/16 inch hose that goes from here to an air compressor line. And I got the output of the compressor set pretty low, so that way we don't really blow anything up. We're not putting 120 psi through this. And we got our good friend Leak Tech. So we just spray that everywhere and see what we find. So here we are in our problem area. We see got some pretty cool looking bubbles. So that's good news. So we give her some air. I don't know if you can see that real well, but there's definitely a section towards the top where this thing is being a problem. I can't always get it to act up, but I don't see anything else lower. Definitely, it seems like it's right at the top, which is cool for us because there might actually be a chance of us fixing it. So it's right there. Alright, well, that makes me feel a little better. So I guess we'll heat the piss out of this and see if we can't braze it. It's already broke, you can't fuck it anymore. Okay. So right here, we have something called brazing and welding rod, but we're more interested in the brazing part. So this is just a Burns-O-Matic brand, and it's meant for aluminum. So this is the AL3 stuff. So basically all this is some rod that we're going to try to use to fill up the hole. So brazing, the best way I can describe it is kind of like soldering. Except this is going to be our soldering iron. So this is MAP gas. MAP gas is hotter than propane, so it is preferable in a situation like this where we have a lot of heat. You know, that this thing can absorb a ton of energy, so we need to get this thing hot. So the goal here is to get the metal hot enough that this rod just melts on it. So we're not using the flame to melt the rod, we're using the actual radiator to melt the rod into it. So we're just going to dab it and let it, you know, it's got flux and stuff in there, I think, or whatever cleaning stuff it has. So you dab it in there and it'll absorb. But the point is to get the metal hot enough to melt the rod, not use the flame, otherwise you just goop it on there. So we're going to see how that goes. Welding gloves at the ready, mother on speed dial. Let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, it's gonna take a lot of heat. Okay. Interesting. Well, it didn't melt how I was expecting it to right off the bat, but it did eventually start to take. Interesting. Okay, so attempt 1, not good enough. We still got a bit of a gap at the part that I thought looked kind of questionable. But this is why we test. Alright, well, I guess we'll give it one more go, see what happens. Know where we have to focus at least. Well, it looks like we already burned through the tube. And I'm basically out of one rod, so we're just gonna see if we can cover up the hole as best we can. Okay. Well, yeah. So if you ever want to try to braze a radiator, just laugh and walk away. Well, that's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. Oh dear God. Oh man, it's probably just worth buying a new radiator. Oh man, that's difficult. Alright, so the best results I got, I went through both of those rods completely. And then, you know, the blobs started falling on the ground, so I'd actually pick up the blobs and try to remelt them in. So what finally worked was getting the metal so freaking hot, you know, that everything works with you. And I was using this little flathead to try to press it in there. So you'd get the temperature just right, where you see it's liquid, and then you pull the flame away, and you mess with it, and there's like a there's an in-between temperature where it's almost like putty, and you can kind of move it just where you need to until it dries. You only got like a few seconds between those two states, so if it's not quite right, you heat it up until it's melted again, and then you kind of you mess with it. And I actually got something that looks almost okay. Almost. That might actually hold. I have no idea. And as for this tube, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. And then the final part of, is it worth the time to put this stupid thing back in and see if it works? Is it worth seeing if this, you know, half-assed fucking solution is actually worth the time of reinstalling it? Honestly, I should just go buy a new one. Because, yeah, I'm hoping to go out to Utah in about 5-6 months. And I don't need this thing blowing up on me on the trail when we're going to be out there for a week and a half. So the smart thing would probably be to get a new radiator and hope that that one doesn't leak in that amount of time. Whatever, we'll let it cool down, see how well we did. Well, surprisingly, the stuff that we did on the sidewall actually held. But the tube, as I kind of feared, did not. Problem is, it's just so damn thin, it's hard to get the heat in there to actually melt it and not burn right through the tube. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but I don't know. This is one of those things, you know? It's I don't know. Okay, so you have to be absolutely insane to want to try to fix a tube on a radiator. They're so thin that the mat gas just burns right through. But I've been working on this for so long, so I just want to show you how this this brazing rod reacts to certain temperatures. There's a liquid state, and there's kind of an in-between state, and there's a crumbly state. And you can kind of play with the different states of the metal and the amount of heat you put into it to kind of get it to move around. But I just want to show you how the metal reacts. I don't want to show you how to... This isn't how to fix stuff, this is just, hey look, metal. Okay. So once it gets shiny, you can move it. Now if I take the heat away, it'll start to get hard, and then it'll start to crumble if anything sticks to it. Now, because of how little metal there is around here, you don't need a ton of heat to get it to move. So I'm actually varying how much I'm opening up this map torch, so we have a nice shiny liquid state. If you try to move it when it's not shiny, it crumbles. So get it hotter, and it'll start to reflow. But if you get your temperature just right, you can kind of mess with it, almost like a lead consistency. I just got a flathead here to help move the metal around. You notice it gets crumbly, you just need a little more heat. But not too much, or else the tube starts to melt. Probably help if you can see what the hell it's doing, huh? What do you think? Did I do a good job? Did it seal? Did you say seal? Well, that screwdriver's hot. Even if I do get this to seal, I don't know how much I'd trust it, but at this point, it's just to say that I was able to frickin' do it. So, here's to being stubborn. Alright, so you see over there in the back, we got a little bubbly action. Oh, is that leaking out the other tube too? I swear to God, if that top tube's leaking, I'm done. I'm done. Alright, it doesn't... Nope. That other tube's starting to leak. Fuck this thing, man. So there you go. If anyone ever asks you, hey, can you braze a radiator together? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Son of a diddly. Pile of shiddly. Well, if you were looking for a video on how to successfully braze a radiator back together, this is not that video. I'm throwing in the towel. So, yeah, thanks for watching and seeing what not to do. There's plenty of what not to do here. Again, it was already fucked, so it's not like we broke it anymore. Only $100. Guess it's time for a new one. Okay, well, I left it on the healing bench for a couple weeks, and it still hasn't fixed itself, so I guess it really is hoopa-jooped. So the only advice that I could say is maybe find some kind of flux. Maybe that'll help the metal stick a lot better. And 2, it might just be easier to clip the tube on this end and the other end and just, weld the tank side shut, because that took really well. That actually sealed. So if you could do that on both ends, then you might have a more successful repair. But if you're going to try to chase your tail and try to seal up the tube, no. Just no. It ain't gonna happen, partner. So, yeah. For For the tubes, maybe propane would be better since it's a lot cooler. You might not have the heat to melt it as quickly. But again, it's very specialized. You gotta have talent to do that, and I do not have the practice to pull that one off. So much respect for people that fix radiators. That ain't for me. Well, yeah, that's about it. Fail.